From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun. Hello and welcome tonight. Northern governors, traditional rulers meet in Kaduna, warn that the region is on the brink of losing its future to escalating insecurity and poverty. Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma, backs the federal government to tackle insurgency, describes sponsors of attacks on schools and religious centers as enemies of the nation. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says abducted pupils and staff of St. Mary's Private Catholic School in Niger State are in good condition and will soon return home. And a Russian missile attack on the eastern Ukrainian city of Dnipro kills 4 people and injures 40 others.
And on business, the third quarter brings a glimmer of hope as Nigeria's economy grows 3.98%.
And on sports news tonight, South Africa head coach Hugo Broos has become the first manager to unveil his final squad for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco.
And from the nation's capital, it's celebration time in Abuja as Nigeria's aviation industry celebrates 100 years of service to the nation.
There's a warning coming from the Northern Governors Forum that the region is on the brink of losing its future to escalating insecurity and deepening poverty unless leaders take urgent and decisive action. The chairman of the Governors Forum, or chairman of the forum rather, Governor Inuayaya of Gombe State, stated this during a joint meeting of the forum and the Northern Traditional Rulers Council in Kaduna.
Northern governors and traditional rulers converged on the Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House in Kaduna State for a high-level meeting aimed at addressing the region's worsening insecurity and economic challenges. The gathering seeks to discuss the increasing wave of violence in northern Nigeria and adopt coordinated strategies to restore stability and accelerate development across the region. Those in attendance include the governors of Kaduna, Gombe, Niger, Zamfara, Nasarawa, Bauchi, and some states' deputy governors. Key traditional rulers are also in attendance, including the Sultan of Sokoto. In his address, the host governor calls for a unified approach to confronting the security situation and other socio-economic challenges affecting the region.
Conversation about insecurity in the north has become more complicated. A few voices, driven by narrow political motives, have worked to create the impression that northern governors have grown complacent or inactive. Nothing could be further from the truth. We know the weight of the mandates entrusted to us.
The governors are delighted with the steps taken by the administration of President Bola Tinubu to address the security situation in the region. The chairman of the forum urges regional leaders to address the key drivers of insecurity, including underdevelopment and illiteracy.
At this critical moment, we express our strong and unflinching support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We commend the decisive efforts he is taking to secure our nation, especially in the face of heightened international pressure. While we welcome constructive international cooperation in tackling our security challenges, such help must be offered in a manner that preserves Nigeria's territorial integrity, dignity, and sovereignty.
For the traditional rulers, the insecurity has social and economic impacts on the region, which makes it necessary to address the challenge immediately.
I want to, on behalf of the Council, thank all the governors and assure you
100%. We are with you, we'll support you, we'll continue to advise you, and whatever it takes to bring peace and stability to the north and to the country, we will do it. We don't think we have any other place to run to except our places.
The leaders at the meeting renew their commitment to tackling insecurity and economic hardship in the region.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State, has described those sponsoring the attacks on schools and religious centers as enemies of Nigeria, stating that the APC are united in their support for President Bola Tinubu in tackling insecurity in the country. Speaking in Abuja at the inauguration of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, Governor Uzodimma says the federal and state governments will not be deterred by the actions of persons who are bent on distracting and discrediting the federal government through sponsored attacks on innocent Nigerians.
This inaugural meeting between state and zonal coordinators of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors and the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum is aimed at highlighting the achievements of the President Bola Tinubu-led administration. After a 3-hour meeting behind closed doors, the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum restates the commitment of members of the party not to be cowed by activities of persons sponsoring attacks on innocent Nigerians.
And that is the meaning of prosperity, which Renewed Hope is all about. So we are not going to shy away. Those who are going to hire bandits to attack our schools, to attack our churches, to attack the mosque, thinking that that would be the best way of distracting APC to lose government, they are wasting their time. We will do our best to resist them. We will do our best to protect our people. The primary essence of government is the security and the welfare of the people. And Mr. President is aware of that sufficiently.
The need for members of the party to propagate the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu is also highlighted.
We are not unaware that those who don't like us are also working hard to see that we don't succeed. But are we going to allow them to achieve it? So we have to go home and say the real meaning of our name to our people and our real intentions so that they will understand us clearly. We can never become victims of mistaken identities. So as you meet today and leave Abuja, you take this message to the states. Mr. President, by every standard, has done very well. And our government is doing very well. So, and we are here to inform the people. The benefits of the various reforms deployed by Mr. President has started coming out. Our job now is to help the federal government, by extension, Mr. President, to take these benefits to the grassroots.
In a bid to spread the message of the Renewed Hope agenda, vehicles are distributed to the coordinators.
While the federal government has offered reassurance to parents and authorities of the St. Mary's Private Catholic School in Papiri, Agwara local government area of Niger State, confirming that the kidnapped children are safe and will soon return home. During a visit to the Catholic Bishop of Kontagora Diocese, Most Reverend Bulus Dawa Johanna, and the children's parents at the St. Michael's Catholic Cathedral, a national security advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, said rescue efforts are in full swing and security has been significantly strengthened. The NSA further assured that the school will continue to operate safely with regular security patrols around the area. Now, the tragic abduction occurred on November the 21st this year, around 2 a.m., when heavily armed gunmen attacked the school in the Papiri community, forcibly taking around 315 people, including 303 students and 12 staff members. So far, 50 pupils have escaped captivity and have been safely reunited with their families, while security agencies continue the operations to rescue the remaining abductees. In Imo, the State Police Command has continued to record notable successes in its campaign against kidnapping and related crimes across the state. Its latest breakthrough is the arrest of a suspected notorious kidnap kingpin, Odinaka Ekwebilem, along with 2 members of his gang, who have allegedly been terrorizing residents of Ngbidi and Awomama in Oru West local government and surrounding communities. Speaking to journalists in Owerri, the command spokesperson Henry Okoye reveals that the suspects abducted their victim within a church premises shortly after a midnight service. Now, acting on credible intelligence, operatives apprehended the suspects and recovered arms and ammunition, while other fleeing members of the gang remain at large.
In the course of anti-kidnapping units led by ACP Oladimeji Odeyeyua, embarking on series of intelligence-led raid of suspected criminal hideouts, we were able to arrest a total of 52 criminal suspects. And in the course of interrogating these suspects, searching their criminal hideouts, we recovered large cache of arms and ammunitions. We also recovered some stolen properties and stolen vehicles, which definitely will be handed back to their owners. And some of the rifles we recovered include AK-47 guns, pump-action guns, and over 54 live rounds of cartridges, and some locally fabricated shotgun. For now, we are conducting thorough investigation, and our aim is to apprehend the manufacturers of these locally made guns.
More on security, and in Ogun, the State Commissioner of Police, Larry Ogunlowo, has confirmed the abduction of 6 marketers of a Lagos-based real estate firm at Oyebola village in Obafemi-Owode local government area of the state. He confirmed this in a telephone conversation in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Now, the police boss said a manhunt has been activated by officers and men of the command to ensure the victims regain their freedom unhurt while the perpetrators are brought to justice. The police commissioner, while confirming the unfortunate incident on Sunday, explained that according to a report from one of the staff, there is a real estate company that has land at Oyebola village in Obafemi-Owode local government of the state. He adds that the company brought some marketers from Lagos to come and see the land for them to have requisite information to market the land for members of the public that are interested. However, it was during their visit to this land that the 6 people were abducted, which happened on Friday. But now the command is handling the situation. Staying on the nation's security challenges, former Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabo says the issue must be examined from multiple angles rather than a single perspective. Speaking on our political program, Politics Today, General Rabo explains that while some terrorists target Christians, others attack different religious groups or entire communities. He also cautions that politicians could be complicit in fueling some of these security challenges.
Our issues in terms of security challenges are multifaceted, implying that just as you have terrorists who have an ideology, you equally have those who are bent on, targeting Christians, and there are also those who are also targeting communities, that is, desiring to displace communities and wanting to stay in those communities to be able to have a voice, or perhaps that could be their bargaining chip, as it were. For whatever reason, there are different reasons. There are those who are also regarded as economic criminals and so on and so forth. So if you now just assume, or if you like, lump the entire thing to be one of those strands, then of course that would be, the analysis would be wrong. And those who also say it's political is also, again, that will be lumping all the issues to assume that all the other issues, do not matter. It's just for you to heap it at the back of the politicians. That's also not correct. That does not mean that some politicians have not taken advantage of the insecurity, or if you like, the state of under governance, as it were, if I may use that coinage, to want to perhaps gain some form of leverage, to give impression that they can do better. Others perhaps want to give impression that, look, to score the point that there is poor governance, they could also instigate certain crises in one way or the other. So those who believe that it's purely political may be, assuming their argument, maybe having the argument from that angle.
In part two, after the break, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says the FCT administration will no longer accept excuses for the slow pace of work on some of the projects in the nation's capital. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Northern governors, traditional rulers meet in Kaduna, warn that the region is on the brink of losing its future to escalating insecurity and poverty. Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodimma, backs the federal government to tackle insurgency, describes sponsors of attacks on schools and religious centers as enemies of the nation. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says abducted pupils and staff of St. Mary's Private Catholic School in Niger State are in good condition and will soon return home. And the Russian missile attack on the eastern Ukrainian city of Dnipro kills 4 people and injures 40 others. President Bola Tinubu has met with the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, behind closed doors at the presidential villa, Abuja. The former CDS arrived at the villa on Monday evening, wearing a traditional northern attire, and immediately proceeded to meet with the president in his office. The reason for his visit was not ascertained as of the time of the report. However, it was his first visit to the State House since he was relieved of the responsibility of the Chief of Defense Staff by President Tinubu in October this year. Although reasons were not given for the president's decision, General Musa's removal came on the heels of an alleged report of an aborted planned coup against the president. General Musa's visit to President Tinubu is coming at a time when Nigeria grapples with security challenges in the north, including the abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi, the attack on worshippers in Iruku in Kwara, and kidnapping of Catholic school children in Minna, Niger State, among others. The leadership of the Nigeria Police is applauding the contribution of women in the force to the fight against insecurity. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Force Criminal Investigation Department, Mr. Sadiq Abubakar, stated this when he represented the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, at a commemorative walk to mark 70 years of women in the Nigeria Police in Abuja.
It is a commemorative walk in honor of women in the Nigeria Police Force, who are out in their numbers to celebrate 70 years since the first set of women were integrated into the force. From the force headquarters with music blaring, the women, accompanied by a few men, take to the streets of the nation's capital for a 5-kilometer walk tagged Walk Against Violence. After the walk, the women share their thoughts on the involvement of women in national security and the efforts to maintain law and order.
The Nigerian police force is supporting women who are victims of this gender-based violence, and we're there to support you. We're there for you. Anytime any person who has a problem like that, we should always reach out to us. We're there to support you.
We're celebrating 70 years of women in service, courage, resilience, and all the dedication over the years from 1955 to 2025. The Inspector General of Police has made history. IGP Kayode Egbetokun, NPM PhD, he has made history as the first Inspector General of Police to recognize and celebrate the contribution of women.
The need for increased women enrollment into the Nigeria police force is also highlighted.
Here in Nigeria and around the world are ready to take leadership positions, and I support that decision that they make to take leadership positions, which I believe that they can certainly hold and do an excellent job in. So to have so many women come out to talk about or to walk against gender-based violence is certainly a powerful move here this morning.
The celebration falls within the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and the police leadership issues warning against such acts and commends the role of women in the force.
This is a landmark in the history of Nigerian police to have this large number of female officers, and I want to tell you with every sincerity of purpose that the female officers of the Nigerian police force have been doing very well, and I'm sure they will continue to do very well.
With the theme, Inspiring the Future, the message here is that there is a need for more women to receive inspiration to join the Nigeria police force.
Still in the nation's capital, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the FCT administration will no longer accept excuses for the slow pace of work on some of the projects there. Mr. Wike stated this during the inspection of the ongoing construction of the Nyanya-Karshi-Wasa Road, which has been stalled for 14 years. Now, the FCT administration had to revoke the initial contract and re-awarded it to enable the completion of the project, with the contractor given a 12-month deadline to complete it. The minister noted that the project is now progressing steadily.
When we called the contractor agreed to go back to site and gave us the promise that within 6 months that project will be delivered. Unfortunately, it was a very big disappointment, and therefore we had no choice but to terminate it and give to a more competent and serious contractor. Because of the importance of that road, we felt that we have to relieve the hardship on the people there and then connect to our poor and water. So I think it's a major decision we took, and for the interest of the people of Abuja. Now the other sense of what I'm doing is to let the world know that this administration means well, not only for the city but also for the satellite communities. It has never happened, and never in the history of Abuja, since Abuja was created, that we had such an attention to rural communities. And this is what the Hope Agenda is all about. So this is what has happened, and you can see the enthusiasm from residents and those who carry out commercial activities here.
And there's more from the nation's capital as we now head over to our Abuja studios with Gloria Umezioke. Gloria, great to see you. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. We begin with the aviation sector, where it's been 100 years since the first aircraft touched the Nigerian soil in 1925, and 40 Nigerians were honored for their role in shaping the future of the industry. Those honored include the first Nigerian pilot and the first female Nigerian pilot, among other veterans who have impacted the sector. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, reports.
Aviation stakeholders gather to mark 100 years of aviation in Nigeria at this commemorative event. Stakeholders, including government officials, federal lawmakers, heads of aviation agencies, and aviation veterans, also gathered for the celebration. The event, organized by the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, is to appreciate veterans as well as those who have contributed to the growth of the sector.
Captain Robert Hayes was the first pilot.
Among the awardees is the first Nigerian pilot, Captain Bob Hayes, who is represented by his daughter, as well as the first female Nigerian pilot, Captain Chinyere Kalu, and other aviation stakeholders.
On behalf of the awardees, I want to again thank the Minister for allowing us to remember our past, for initiating this move to honor our veterans who have made so much contribution on what we're enjoying.
When you have a minister and you have a president that has given a minister a marching order to make sure the domestic airlines succeed, and the minister is carrying the mandate of the president more than 100% to the letter, that is what we are enjoying today. There are still more to be done, and we are very hopeful that with the kind of square peg in a square hole we have, success is beckoning at the end.
The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development also receives an award of excellence.
This is a general shout-out and appreciation to even all those who were not mentioned. At some other time, we are going to mention them again. But this 100 years is a watershed in our journey in this country as the aviation sector. We want to appeal to all of you to continue to lend your voice of wisdom, your sense of judgment, your advice to all of us here.
The organizers believe the event serves as a launchpad into a bold and promising future for Nigeria's aviation industry. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, third quarter brings a glimmer of hope as Nigeria's economy grows 3.98%. That's in business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. We turn attention now to the health sector, where the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has suspended its nationwide indefinite strike for 4 weeks, 29 days after the industrial action. A president of the association, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, who made the announcement in a press briefing in Abuja, said the decision was reached at the end of an extraordinary National Executive Council meeting held on November 29. This followed a series of conciliatory meetings with the federal government, culminating in the signing of a memorandum of understanding to address the association's 19-point demands.
For 29 days, Nigerian resident doctors embarked on a nationwide indefinite strike. The industrial action left patients to bear the brunt, as an estimated 11,000 resident doctors across 91 teaching hospitals withdrew their services in protest over poor working conditions and delayed entitlements. At the Asokoro General Hospital, the halls are empty, as there are no doctors in sight and the patients are without hope of care.
My dad had a surgery like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, so we're supposed to keep coming to the hospital for checkup. But we came one day and boom, we were told that doctors were on strike, and it was really, really bad. It was a bad situation because we had to take him back home and we kept managing him. We kept managing him on our own. And I just came today because we are supposed to have another surgery. So I came today again to find out what's happening, and everywhere is dry and all that. And I just want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Nigerian government. Please just help us attend to the doctors. Whatever their need is, just attend to them, because their role in the country is very, very pivotal. They touch lives.
However, at a press conference in Abuja, the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors announced the suspension of the industrial action after reaching an agreement with the federal government. He also says the strike will continue if the government fails to honor the agreement.
In its own wisdom, NEC said, suspend the strike action. Let us give this 4 weeks and see that the political will be translated, will continue in terms of achieving those other things agreed. There's nothing in the MOU signed that extends beyond 1 month, and that is why NEC is looking at that window. There are not new demands. There's nothing new being said here. It is just what was agreed that NEC is saying as resolution, implement them.
The doctors are also assuring they will resume duties on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025.
Anything we do is for the interest of the public, not for us. We want a better healthcare system for everyone. And so we're grateful for the support, and we believe that we're back and we're here to to work for you. Tomorrow morning by 8 o'clock, every doctor will be available to see their patient.
With the one-month agreement between the federal government and the resident doctors to address all lingering concerns, Nigerians hope that this time, words will be matched with action and the issues between both parties be sorted sooner than later. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
To company news, Nigeria is entering a new digital growth phase as the federal government moves to attract more investments, expand broadband access, and position the country as West Africa's data hub. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosu Tijani, warned that businesses could fall behind if they ignore rapid population growth, rising data use, and the global artificial intelligence trends. He was speaking at the Minister Regulator and Telecom Executives Forum 2025, organized by the Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria in Abuja. Our correspondent, Benny Ork, reports.
This is a gathering of the Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria, industry regulators, policymakers, and operators, all converging to align on the future of Nigeria's digital economy. With the theme driving Nigeria's digital economy, policy, regulation, and industry synergy, the forum focuses on emerging opportunities, sector gains, and critical challenges that require strategic responses.
Today, fewer than 5 operators control over 80% of Nigeria's subscriber market. Their growth is a testament to the scale and execution, but such concentration brings responsibilities and also vulnerabilities. We cannot ignore that, one, small operators are under pressure. Mid-tier players struggle with capital access. Consumers navigate a myriad of challenges. And diversity in our ecosystem unavoidably is shrinking.
When we connect the nation, we widen access to public services, we reduce inequality, we expand opportunities for businesses, and we deepen social inclusion and give young Nigerians the tools they need to compete globally.
Delivering the keynote address, the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosu Tijani, called for deeper collaboration, stronger investment, and readiness for rapid technological shift that will shape Nigeria's digital future.
We're not at business as usual time. We're at a time where the private sector should be co-creating with the current government, because you have a government in place that is willing to give nearly everything you want. And that's not based on us not having clarity in terms of what should be done. That's because we understand that Nigeria cannot be prosperous without the work you do.
After his address, the minister joined a panel of executives for an interactive session focusing on connectivity, data demand, and industry innovation. The forum later culminated in a dinner and award ceremony attended by government representatives, the Deputy Governor of Benue State, telecom executives, and operators. The evening featured music, entertainment, and a celebration of digital achievements across the country. Benue, Cross River, Nasarawa, and Ogun State were honored in the Digital Excellence category. The Ministerial Excellence in Telecom Development Award was presented to Dr. Bosu Tijani. As the engagements closed, the association and other stakeholders expressed confidence that the forum will strengthen understanding, improve synergy, and drive sustained growth across Nigeria's telecommunications ecosystem. Benny Ork, Channels Television News.
Well, here is some breaking news. The Minister of Defense, Mr. Mohammed Badaru, has resigned his position with immediate effect. In a letter dated December 1, sent to President Bola Tinubu, Mr. Abubakar said he was quitting on health grounds. The President, Tinubu, has accepted the resignation and thanked Mr. Abubakar for his services to the nation. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, says President Tinubu will likely inform the Senate of Badaru's successor later this week. Badaru Abubakar, 63, was a two-term governor of Jigawa State from 2015 to 2023. He was appointed as a minister on August 21, 2023 by President Tinubu. His resignation comes amid President Tinubu's declaration of a national security emergency with plans to elaborate on its scope in due course. But that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to Ayo for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Gloria. In its quest to set the tone for the Yuletide season, Maltina has set up net lighting, string lighting machinery in motion to help Nigerians savor the joy of the moment and truly live the season. This year, the leading malt brand brings the magic of Christmas to life with breathtaking light installations and festive experiences across 3 major cities: Lagos, Abuja, and Ibadan. Speaking with journalists after the Maltina Festive Light Up Abuja, Legal Director, Nigerian Breweries PLC, Mr. Waboy Agbebaku, underscores the deeper intention behind illuminating 3 major cities at once.
Millions of tiny light bulbs blinking at varying intervals combine to create an enchanting ambience at strategic points on the streets of the nation's capital, Abuja. This festive season, the leading malt brand brings the magic of Christmas to light with breathtaking light installations and festive experiences as Nigeria Breweries PLC executives joyfully arrive at the venue with cultural troops heralding their arrival. In his opening remarks, the legal director, Nigerian Breweries PLC, explains the reason behind the celebration.
As a company, I'm very proud to unveil our legendary Christmas street light-up initiative here in Abuja. Through the illumination of select streets, we aim to foster warmth, optimism, and shared celebration during this festive period. This effort underscores our dedication to community enrichment and our belief that the holidays are a time to connect and a time to share happiness.
After the speeches, Maltina then unveils its legendary Christmas street light up.
Nigerian breweries, and especially Maltina, right, over the years has been consistent in sharing happiness. And so this is our small way of saying, Nigerians, let us share happiness. Let us remember that this is a season to share happiness, to share joy, to give people hope.
The reason why we pick these regions that they're almost like a pilot where we're starting off before we then go bigger, obviously, hopefully. Those are key regions for us as a company, and as such we want to bring that Christmas cheer to those regions and not let it be all Lagos, 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 but let's also focus on Abuja here and then Ibadan also.
As the lights beam across Lagos, Abuja and Ibadan, Maltina continues to inspire joy, happiness and togetherness, reminding Nigerians on the need to slow down, celebrate and truly live the season.
Let's now get the feelers from what's happening in the world of business. Here's Will Ibong.
Thank you, Ayotunde. Now, Nigeria's economy has posted a modest rise in the third quarter of 2025, with GDP growing by 3.9% year-on-year. The latest figures from the National Bureau of Statistics show a slight improvement from the 3.86% recorded a year earlier. The oil sector contributed 3.44% to the real GDP in the third quarter, down from 4.05% in the previous quarter, while the non-oil economy made up 96.56% of total output. Across the non-oil sector, agriculture accounted for 31.21%, industries 15.77%, and services remained dominant with 53.02%. Meanwhile, the latest Stanbic IBTC Purchasing Managers Index shows Nigeria's private consecutive month in November, with the headline PMI at 53.6 points, slightly lower than October's 54 points, signaling improved business conditions. New orders rose to a 3-month high of 56.9 points, continuing a 13-month streak of growth. Output growth remained marked across all 4 sectors surveyed: agriculture, we see agriculture, manufacturing, wholesale and retail, and services supported by higher sales, new customers, and the launch of new products. Inflationary pressures continue to ease. Import costs increased at the slowest pace in almost 5 years, while output prices rose at the weakest level since April 2020. Employment growth was marginal but positive, and purchasing activity hit a 7-month high, leading to inventory expansion at the fastest pace since June 2023. Despite increased capacity, backlogs of work rose for the first time in 4 months due to delayed customer payments. Supplier delivery times continue to improve for the 5th consecutive month, while overall business confidence eased for the 5th month in a row, reaching the lowest level since May. Head of Equity Research, West Africa Stanbic IBTC Bank, Mayuwani, notes that ongoing government investments, lower interest rates, and economic initiatives like the Dangote refinery are expected to support private consumption and business investment, with Nigeria's economy projected to grow by around 4% in 2025 and more sectors likely contributing to GDP growth in 2026, thereby improving the quality of life for Nigerians. Now, a Lagos Appeal Court has blocked Nest Oil Limited from interfering with the debt recovery effort by FBN Quest Merchant Bank Limited and its affiliates, a case tied to a staggering alleged debt of about $1.01 billion. The move comes after a lower court injunction freezing Nest Oil's assets was lifted in November 2025, and now the appellate court has restrained Nest Oil from taking any actions that could derail the recovery proceedings.
In a reversal, the Court of Appeal in Lagos has delivered a critical victory to a consortium of creditor banks, effectively reinstating the receivership and asset freeze against local oil and gas conglomerate Nest Oil Limited. This judicial action comes barely a week after a federal high court ruling had temporarily allowed Nest Oil to regain control of its operations and assets. The high-stakes legal war between a consortium of creditors led by FBN Quest Merchant Bank Limited and First Trustees Limited and Nest Oil Limited, its affiliate, the Conda Energy Limited, and their principal promoters, Dr. Ernest Azudialu Obiejesi and Mrs. Nnenna Obiejesi. The debt in question is a staggering amount, reportedly exceeding $1 billion and hundreds of billions of naira, resulting from various credit facilities. The legal saga has been a rapid back and forth. The controversy ignited in October when the Federal High Court initially granted a sweeping Mareva injunction that froze Nest Oil's funds across multiple banks and placed the company under the control of a court-appointed receiver manager. However, in a significant procedural win for Nest Oil, the High Court, under a new judge, Justice Daniel Siago, ruled on November 20th that the original injunction had lapsed by operation of law, having exceeded the statutory 14-day limit for an ex parte order after a motion challenging it was filed. This decision effectively lifted the asset freeze. But the lenders were not deterred. In a swift countermove, FBN Quest and First Trustees filed an appeal. Documents confirmed that on November 27, 2025, the Court of Appeal granted the application for an interim restorative injunction. This order from the appellate court reverses all steps Nest Oil and its representatives took after the Federal High Court's November 20th ruling. Critically, it returns control of the company's assets and operations back to the receiver manager appointed by the banks. Furthermore, the Court of Appeal ordered a stay of all further proceedings at the Federal High Court, halting the case in the lower court. This means that for the time being, the receivership is back in force, the asset freeze remains in place, and the legal war is now firmly elevated to the Court of Appeal, where the next crucial hearing on the substantive motion and notice is scheduled for December 4th.
Now let's get a check-in on the local stock market, which kicked off the new trading month in negative territory amidst sell-offs. John McQuarrie has the details.
Good evening. evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report, to the very first day in the month of December and the first trading day in the month. Unfortunately, it's the sentiments that we close with in November that we see. And today we saw 197 billion naira being taken out through profit taken by investors, and that leaves the market cap at 91, just about 91 trillion naira. The oil share is in the red, 0.22% at 143,210.33. Look at the sectors now. Well, thankfully, banking has recovered. It's up because of the fugas, 0.11%, but that's about all the green that we can get. Consumer goods is down more than 1%. Dangote Sugar and international breweries led to that. Oil and gas today because of the market mover today. So there's Japogo, but the market mover is Aradel. Aradel today moved the market and closed down after losing a whole 2 naira. It closed at 688 naira at the end of close today. And so we begin the month on a red note and with the bear.
Thank you, Ini. Let's see the snapshot of closing numbers for other major global equities now. And that's it on Business News. I am Will Ibang. It's back to Ayotunde for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Yes, I'm Pusey with our international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The death toll in the floods which struck Indonesia last week has now climbed to more than 500, with rescue workers still battling to reach affected areas. The floods, which were caused by a rare cyclone that had formed over the Malacca Strait, have hit 3 provinces and impacted some 1.4 million people. That's according to the Government Disaster Agency. Another 500 people remain missing, while thousands more have been injured. Indonesia is just one part of Asia which has been hit with torrential rain and storms in recent days, with Thailand, Malaysia and Sri Lanka also reporting deaths. In Indonesia, the provinces of Aceh, North Sumatra and West Sumatra have been the hardest hit, with thousands still cut off without critical supplies. A Russian missile attack on the eastern Ukrainian city of Dnipro has killed 4 people and injured 40. Unconfirmed reports say a ballistic missile was used in the strike, which took place on Monday morning. Videos shared online showed a large explosion occur on the side of a motorway, and local media said an office block, cars and shops were hit or badly damaged. Dnipro, which lies 100 kilometers from the front line, has frequently come under Russian attack since the start of Moscow's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Ukrainian officials have said naval drones have hit 2 oil tankers from Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet as they travelled through the Black Sea. Footage shows waterborne drones speeding through the waves into the vessels before detonating into a ball of flame, sending black smoke into the air. The targeted tankers were named by Turkish authorities as the Kairos and Virat, both flagged to the Gambia. Both were hit off the Turkish coast, with the Virat reportedly struck again on Saturday. Georgia's authorities used a World War I-era chemical weapon to quell anti-government protesters last year. That's according to a new investigation. Demonstrators against the Georgian government's suspension of its European Union accession bid have complained of other symptoms too: shortness of breath, coughing and vomiting that lasted for weeks. The Georgian authorities said the accusations were absurd and the police had acted legally in response to the illegal actions of brutal criminals. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has asked the country's president, Isaac Herzog, for a pardon over corruption cases he has been battling. The president's office said Herzog would receive opinions from justice officials before considering the request, which carries with it significant implications. Netanyahu has been standing trial for the past 5 years on charges of bribery, fraud and a breach of trust in connection with 3 separate cases. He denies any wrongdoing. He said in a video message that he would have preferred to see the process to the end, but national interest demanded otherwise. The Israeli opposition says he should admit guilt before seeking a pardon. At least 4 people, including 3 children, have been killed in a mass shooting at a family gathering in California. The victims were 8, 9, 14 and 21 years old. 11 others were injured in the incident at a restaurant in the state's northern city of Stockton. A suspect is still on the loose. Authorities say they believe the shooting may have been targeted and may have been committed by multiple people.
What we have confirmed at this time is that there was a banquet hall where a family was celebrating. We have 14 victims of this shooting. 4 of those are deceased. The victims have been transported to local hospitals throughout the area. This is a very active and ongoing investigation. Information remains very limited at this time. Early indications suggest that this may be a targeted incident.
And more than 200 firefighters were called to tackle a fire at North St Mary's in Western Sydney after a waste facility caught fire. Incredible footage shows the massive fireball. A chemical tank was blown into the air by the resulting explosion, causing chunks of fist-sized concrete blocks to rain down on first responders. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries to their hands while tackling the New South Wales blaze, but no other injuries have been reported. It is not yet known what caused the fire. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. With 20 days before the Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Morocco, South Africa have become the first country to officially unveil the final squad. Head coach Hugo Bruce named his 25-man squad featuring 17 home-based players, including goalkeeper Ronwen Williams, while Lyle Foster, who plays for Burnley, will lead the attack. The final submission of the squads for all 24 teams will be on the 11th of December. The tournament is scheduled for December the 21st, 2025 and ends January 18th, 2026. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola is expecting a very tough clash against Fulham on Tuesday at Craven Cottage. He commended the work of the manager Marco Silva after their impressive 2-1 win away at Tottenham. Man City are second on the table, 5 points adrift of leaders Arsenal with 25 points, while Fulham occupy 15th spot with 17 points from 13 matches. That's where we leave it on sports news. It's back to Aya for the rest of the news at 10.
And the main news again. The northern governors and traditional rulers met in Kaduna today as they warned that the region is on the brink of losing its future to escalating insecurity and poverty. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Do have a good night.